Who you want to play with?
Bronny is number one on my list.
That's dope.
He's number one on my list that I want to play with.
When LeBron James said this a few years back, it sounded like a joke. And that's because father and son duos are very rare in sports. Some of the few lucky ones we've had include Gordie Howe and Sons for hockey, Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. for baseball, and Rivaldo and Rivaldino for soccer. So when the 2024 draft happened and Bronny James was selected as the 55th pick by the Lakers, we all knew what was happening. The Lakers were only doing it to please LeBron. But is that really the reason? And if there was another reason, in light of recent events, does it make sense? And ultimately, does legacy count for something? LeBron James had always wanted to play with his son. In 2018, when he was still in Cleveland, he said that if Bronny made it to the NBA, he would do everything in his power to play alongside him. Bron even suggested that he'd be willing to take a pay cut to join whatever team drafted his son. And being arguably the greatest player in NBA history and what he's done for the Lakers, obviously he has some influence. And that influence would come in handy, considering the fact that Bronny wasn't the best at the college level. You see, while Bronny was considered a top recruit, he was ranked only 24th by ESPN for the class of 2023. Things got worse for the Jameses when Bronny suffered a cardiac arrest during practice at USC.
Urgent 911 call moments after Bronny James suffered a sudden cardiac arrest during a basketball practice at USC.
So listen to me, okay? Your ambulance here now. Okay, all right, sir. All right, sir. I'm gonna send help there.
Bronny would eventually recover from the tragic incident better than people expected. But then, it really affected his draft stock. However, everything came together for him at the Combine, where he showcased his skills. Bronny registered a 42-inch vertical leap and an impressive 19 out of 25 in the three-point shooting drill. This performance shifted his rankings from nearly dead last among prospects to the 54th best player. Interestingly, while all this was going on, LeBron was busy interviewing JJ Redick to become the Lakers head coach with the Mind the Game podcast. Many believe this was part of a broader strategy for LeBron to play with his son in LA. However, later comments from both LeBron and Bronny suggested they were distancing themselves from this narrative. But what about the Lakers? Did they buy into this father-son duo idea? Well, here's Rob Pelinka.
In the history of the NBA, there's never been a father and a son that have shared an NBA basketball court. And that feels like something that could be magical. And we know and have to respect, of course, that LeBron has a decision about his opt-out. And I'm sure he and his family and his agent will deliberate what they're going to do there. And of course, he has freedom to decide whatever's best for him and his family. But if it worked out that he was on our team next season, NBA history could be made. And NBA history should be made in a Lakers uniform.
So, LeBron had an opt-out option, Bronny's stock was up, and JJ Redick, his coach of choice, was hired in June of 2024. What could possibly go wrong? In the 2024 NBA draft, all eyes were on the first pick, or even the lottery selections. No, the spotlight was stolen by a late second rounder, Bronny James.
With the 55th pick in the 2024 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James from the University of Southern California.
There was no better pick for the Lakers than Bronny James. And when Bronny got the call and picked up, he was so glad to hear from Lakers brass instead of one of those annoying robocallers. Speaking of robocalls, that brings us to today's sponsor, Aura. Aura is intelligent digital security that can protect you from spam. Are you tired of constantly receiving spam phone calls to the point where you don't even answer your phone anymore? Data brokers are making a fortune selling your information to robocallers, spammers, and others who want to learn more about you, like where you live. Aura can identify data brokers exposing your info and submit opt-out requests on your behalf. Brokers are legally required to remove your info if you ask them to, but they make it super hard to do. Let Aura handle it for you. Aura can also protect you and your family from online threats that you can't see. No need to download anything like parental controls, antivirus, or VPN software because it's really easy to set up and you get everything at an affordable price. Let Aura do the hard work of keeping you safe online. You can either let people continue to exploit and profit off your private information, or you can go to aura.com/hoopers. Again, aura.com/hoopers to start your 2-week free trial. It's also linked in the description below. But anyway, with Bronny selected 55th, maybe, just maybe, he might be the next Nikola Jokic, but that is very unlikely because he didn't even make that cut based on merit. Bronny's numbers were anything but dominant on the court for USC, and the experts couldn't even deny.
The opportunity that he received is an opportunity practically no one gets a chance at. There are his numbers: 4.8 points, 36.6% shooting, 2.8 rebounds, 2.1 assists, 19.4 minutes a game. Those are not numbers that get you drafted.
Even if you compare those to the averages of typical second-round picks over the last decade, Bronny's stats still land far below that bar. So obviously fans and critics called it what it was: blatant nepotism. But when it comes to the issue of whether Bronny had any real shot at contributing in the NBA, that was a different issue. First of all, the average college player drafted in the second round is typically a secondary option on their team. That means whoever got drafted 55th, regardless of last name, was likely not going to make any impact on the league. Secondly, Bronny James did have an influence on the league, one that most people rightfully ignored. LeBron's moment came on October 22nd, 2024. History was made in the NBA, and it was really like a scene out of a Hollywood movie. And what a script it was. They first played together during the preseason of Bronny's 20th birthday before the regular season game against the Timberwolves, which they won. But Bronny James's transition to the NBA wasn't smooth, and the Lakers front office could hardly care less. Why? According to Nick Wright of Athlon Sports, over 500,000 Bronny jerseys have been sold, generating more than $50 million in revenue. Now, how often do you get a 55th draft pick that makes you enough money to pay for the biggest player on your team? Anyways, those numbers were the only Bronny numbers that were good. Once the fanfare was settled, Bronny's stats read like something from a struggling high school JV player. 1 point per game on a brutal 16% shooting. It was clear that Bronny wasn't ready for the big stage. And of course, the experts had a thing or two to say about the whole fanfare.
Bronny James, to me, based on his collegiate career, based on the fact that he's LeBron's son, and we're going to placate LeBron, the idea that he's playing 3 minutes, I can argue whether he should even be on a team. He should be in the G League, which, by the way, is what Shaq and Barkley said last night, that he shouldn't be on. He should be on the G League to get minutes. The both of them said that on TNT. So to me, it just feels fake.
But then, the challenges weren't just on the court. Bronny was still recovering from the cardiac arrest scare that nearly derailed his career before it even began. Combine that with the overwhelming expectations of being LeBron James' son, and you know he has to be strong. As for the father, he is certain that he is more than prepared for all the drama.
I don't know if people really understand Bronny. He doesn't care. I actually cared a little bit when I came in. I wanted people to like me, and some of the things that people were saying about me, it kind of bothered me early on in my career. I let it get to me. Bronny doesn't give a.
But then again, the Lakers had to compete. And with Bronny's poor performances, it was only a matter of time before he got booted. And kudos to Redick. Many thought he would never do it. But he did, and Bronny was assigned to the G League for further development. Once Bronny got settled in the G League, something changed, and even the skeptics saw it.
You know, we talked about Bronny a little bit here and there on this show. Is it good to see him being more aggressive, more assertive?
This is the most aggressive man that he's probably ever been.
I'm thinking his whole...
Hell yeah. And his whole basketball career, it's like...
I hope he liked this feeling. I hope he loved this feeling.
That's what I say. Even when he was missing shots, if you see the shots he's taking, he know what he's doing, right? He's creating the space. He has a setback. He's just not used to it yet. Right? He wasn't comfortable with the stuff he was doing.
His breakout moment came during a 30-point performance that silenced many of his doubters. On top of that, his assist numbers climbed steadily, and his defensive instincts, long seen as his best asset, started turning heads. Against all odds, Bronny wasn't just surviving in the G League. He was improving, showing flashes of that potential that made the Lakers take a chance on him, that he's LeBron's son. And after months of grinding in the G League, his improved play earned him a call back to the Lakers. But then, the questions about Bronny's future are still there. How long would he stay on the Lakers before heading back to the G League? Is he ready? Here's what his father and manager think.
I think every moment he gets out there, he's just getting more and more comfortable with the pro game.
Don't get me wrong, as it pertains to the critique from a basketball perspective, that's part of our business. That's part of the game to critique, the basketball play.
But while the father and son duo might have started as LeBron's dream, Bronny's journey is far from over. And interestingly, the same can be said about LeBron's dreams. Now that LeBron has played with Bronny, guess who's next on his list? Bryce James. At 16, Bryce is already making waves at the high school level. His 6'6" frame and smooth shooting touch have drawn comparisons to his father's younger days. And if LeBron can stretch his career just a few more years, we might witness something totally unprecedented. LeBron James forming a big three with both his sons. Yes, it was nepotism that got Bronny into the league, but who wouldn't do such if he had the power? And to be honest, it's even hard to tell if LeBron did his son a favor, because no matter what Bronny eventually does, he will always be known as the player that got drafted at number 55 and didn't even deserve it. But then again, wasn't it cool to have a father and son duo in the NBA like in other popular sports? Maybe one day it could be as memorable as the Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. duo was. Or Gordie Howe skating alongside his sons, Mark and Marty, in hockey. Do you think LeBron can replicate that in the NBA with his sons? Let us hear your thoughts in the comments. LeBron wasn't the only person who wanted to play alongside a specific person. Watch why Nikola Jokic wanted Russell Westbrook in Denver next.